Good evening. I hope everybody is doing better than I am. ah, it's been a day. Um, don't got news articles tonight for you, so if you're looking for news, tonight's probably not a good night. I got a few things that I want to discuss. None of them are related to each other, as per usual, and really only one of the things involve anything related to YouTube. Um, I'm exhausted. I'm wore out. And physically, all day, I've just been exhausted and wore out. Mentally, I'm in 10 times worse shape than that. And the best word I can put on it is exhausted. I am tired of wading through the bullshit. All of it. I am tired of looking at what is going on in the world, what's going on in our local communities, and coming to the realization more and more every minute that if we want to fix the problems in this country, we got to do it. And part of doing that is probably going to mean pushing the government out of the way so that we can fix it. And that's not going to go over real well. But first thing I want to talk about, as per the title, this stuff is getting old, man. Really old. I can go down the list of different channels, and it's freaking ridiculous. Every single day you've got to fear. Every day. And you've got to fear the ultimate fear. And then on top of a fake personality, it just doesn't add up. Give you an example. Let me see if I can find the dude. Yeah. Okay. I think he might have changed the title of the video. Prepper Dog. This is a guy that I initially really liked. When I subscribed to him, he didn't have near the followers he's got now. And he was real. This guy that gets on camera now, and I can't remember what channel shouted him out, but some channel, big channel, shouted him out. He took a bump in subscribers, which is great. And he continues to climb. Great. But don't be fake. What do you mean? Pepper Dog's not fake. Oh, yeah? How many times did he say y'all before he got that bump in subs? Because he barely ever said y'all. Now every other word's y'all. We think y'all. Such a fake Southern accent. Just pouring it on. The reason I cannot stand country music is because of the fake poured on accents. I can't stand fake. I can't stand fake. And I'm still trying to figure out just what preparedness content he covers. Because he's about as anti-preparedness as I've ever seen. Talking the other day, and I have to laugh. It might have been the same day Pinbrain Pinballs made just as much of a nonsensical statement. But Prepper Dog was talking about how he doesn't, change his own oil, and he almost made it kind of sound like, "Oh, change my own oil." I mean, what do you think? Why should I have to know how to change that attitude? But he's a prepper. He's a prepper, y'all. A prepper. Too lazy to learn how to take care of himself. But he's a prepper, and he's going to teach you all prepperness too. These fakes, these frauds need called out. I mentioned Pinbrain. He was talking about car parts the other day and different things that preppers might put back. And the particular car part he mentioned, gotta love my memory, right, was a starter for a vehicle. And he had the attitude, I don't know who would have an extra starter laying around in case they'd need to, dude, it's a starter. You better bet your chubby ass that if I had a car, I would damn well have a starter put back. That would for sure be an item put back, along with an alternator, a voltage regulator. I'm a Ford guy, so they're separate, or at least they used to be. Now it's all in stupid computers in cars, but these people are fake. Ford. I've always been a Ford man. Always been a Ford man. I just like how they did things better, for the most part. Exactly, Kevin. And, it's about the heart. And, it just, right on, distributor up front. Well, you got me on that one. But, the fakeness just needs to stop. These people with Prepper in the titles of their channels don't have any clue what preparedness is. They just don't. They're here to make money. They're here to gain popularity. They're not here to help you learn how to prepare for a dark future. Because if they were, they would be doing a whole lot different than they are. They wouldn't be on here telling you about every day's news and trying to put a spin of fear on it as to why you need to be prepared for, you got to worry about this today. Tomorrow there'll be something else you got to worry about, y'all. And then I'm going to say I'm going to read a Bible verse when I'm done fear-mongering that the Bible tells me not to do, commands me not to do. I'm going to read a Bible verse because that's going to make it all better, y'all. Really? Dude, you were cool as hell, Pepper Dog, when you were just you. Whatever the hell this thing is that you turned into, this Mr. Machismo, fake Southern, I don't know, man. I don't know. I agree with the false prophets. It's disturbing, though. Wonder how many people caught on from Bear's live stream this morning. I wonder how many people caught on. The whole his new house and Caleb house thing. Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised he went out and filmed or did a live stream out there today. Because I can't be the only cat to have caught that. At all. And that just absolutely confirmed my suspicions. And he's not done. He's not done. I predict, not prophesy, but I predict that within the next month, there's going to be a big Caleb House thing to raise money. Some kind of a big thing to raise money. Because he's running out of money. He's running out of money out of all accounts. And I think it snuck up on him. Just like the good Lord said it was going to happen. But, yeah, I couldn't know that. No way for me to know that. Anywho, I hope folks figure it out. I hope folks truly figure it out, and I hope he pays for what he's done. I know what he's done. I've got ways to confirm 110% of what he's done, but I'd get in a whole hell of a lot of trouble if I did it here on YouTube. It's crazy, man. It is crazy what people are doing. Whether it's the outright scumbaggery, the scammery, if I can make a word, or if it's just their sleazy snakiness trying to keep everybody living in fear, so they keep clicking on those videos and keep buying their crap. That's number one thing that's in my crawl today. Number two thing that wasn't in my crawl earlier but is now, we had an incident happen, and I don't know the details, don't believe that I want to know the details, but it involved a member of school staff, allegedly, I have to say allegedly, because I don't know, and a student. A gentleman was in the chat, I don't know, it was last week or so, that had actually filled in the detail, because I knew very little. And up to this point, the most I know is what dude said in the chat that night. But apparently, we have an individual who works for the school system that allegedly has a relationship with a minor that has been going on for some time. Allegedly, it escalated to the point to where he was put in handcuffs and let out of the school. Allegedly. But not a peep else. And I haven't seen a single person deny the claim. Today was where I've seen a lot more people mention it. Because, to be honest, I found an opportunity to bring it up. I am not in the loop in this town. I don't want to be in the loop in this town. I don't want to be the type of person that would want to be in the loop in this town. Something needs to be done. Because we've got a school administration that's turning their heads. We've got local law enforcement that's turning their heads. We've got parents that are turning their heads. Where else do you turn? There is only one other place. We the people. So I find it interesting. I find it interesting that so many are so willing and so ready to shove something like this under the rug. It's mind-blowing to me. From my understanding, because nobody had made any posts alluding to this in the group that we run, the local group that we run. And I've been waiting for it. There were actually a couple of days I'm sitting there kind of on pins and needles waiting for it to drop. Nobody ever said nothing. The only place they said something was the other groups that will immediately delete the post because, you know, you've got just a narrow range of things that you're allowed to talk about in those groups. Small-minded, small-town people. And that's why we started ours. But unfortunately, nobody has really said anything in our group about it other than in the comments of an unrelated post. So what do you do? When they will harass people to death just because they don't like them, but then won't do what they're supposed to do when somebody, I mean, apparently, and I have to say allegedly because I don't know any details personally, but apparently, allegedly, this guy had been grooming this young girl for a while. So, why is he still, and I can't tell you that he is still a member of the school staff. I can't tell you either way. I don't know. But they sure are shoving it under the rug awful hard. And that gets me. That gets me. You know, there are a lot of things in my life that I've done that I am not proud of. But I will own up to them. I will tell you about them. I will talk to you about them. Because my hope is that you don't make the same mistakes that I do. And if I have to eat some humble pie to make that happen, I damn sure will, because who the hell am I? I'm nothing up on a pedestal to have to fall down or be able to fall down. And in fact, nobody is. So that's just the reality of it. But it's maddening to know that it's happening here. There's been a lot of cases here. There was a young man here that was discharged for child pornography. And you had people trying to shrug that off. Only one. I gotta say, there was only one person I saw trying to shrug that one off. Come to find out, it wasn't just preteens or whatever. It involved infants. Infants. At least that's what the police report or whatever it was I read had said. And there was I think it was just right before that dropped of this teenager here. There was a driver's ed instructor in a town next over that was arrested for grooming kids or what have you, for groping kids, I guess, in the driver's ed, which is insane. Because when I went to school, the big joke was one of the teachers, Mr. West, he had several nicknames. Turtlehead because he was bald, but Rab. And I can forever hear my brother singing, "Rab-a-dab-dab, get a little titty in the driver's ed cab." And I'll never forget that, because it was the most hilarious thing I could ever hear when I'm in junior high, and I got an older brother in high school walking around, "Rab-a-dab-dab, get a little titty, grab a little titty in the driver's ed cab." It was hilarious to me. I don't know whether he ever did that or not. He was a complete douchebag for a teacher, I can tell you that much. I don't doubt for a second that he did it, but I can't tell you whether he did or not. Well, apparently this teacher from the next town over is apparently guilty of not just one, but multiple students. They're doing something. Their school administration is getting this guy away from the kids. Why isn't our school administration getting this guy away from Highland students? What makes our students less deserving of a safe place to get an education? I think what it comes down to is who it is. Because that's pretty much everything here. It's all about who you are. What's your last name? What family are you from? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And this town has been under siege by a good old boy network for decades. And I think even if we voted out the mayor and every council seat and replaced him, I think the swamp would still be there. It goes far beyond elected officials. First person they need to get rid of is the poor excuse for a city manager that we have. He is the tyrant that I dealt with when I dealt with all the harassment from law enforcement. They made his ass chief of police, interim chief of police for a short time, and then put him in as city manager. The guy doesn't need to be serving public anywhere, except maybe a rock pile. I don't like tyrants. Can you tell that? I don't like tyrants. Um, it just gets me. And all this kind of stuff wears down on me. Sorry I'm not paying so much attention to the chat, but it wears on me. I think I've got medical issues going on that are serious. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So the other thing, and I told you, totally all unrelated and nothing to do with news tonight. I ranted about this on Facebook today, like 3 different places as a matter of fact. Because it just really, enough's enough, you know? I can't stand to watch people being taken advantage of. It puts a fire in me like you wouldn't believe. I don't think it's right. I do not think people should take advantage of other people for any reason. And the service industry is all about taking advantage of people. So I belong to several different e-bike groups. And for a while, and they've calmed down quite a bit. But for a while, all you would hear is about how you had to buy a certain brand bike from their shop. That's the only way, or else it was junk. And I think the last few months I've done a pretty good job of shutting a lot of them the hell up. Because they found out real quick, maybe they didn't know as much as they thought they knew. See, I can bring you anything. It could be an e-bike, it could be a microwave, it could be a computer, it could be anything. I could hand you a screwdriver and point it apart and say, okay, take that part off, unclip the wires, hand it to me, then give them a replacement and say, okay, put that part back in the same way the other one came out and connect the wires. So you just replaced a part. Not a big deal. If it's something you've never done before, it is a big deal. That's incredible. Congratulations. You made your first repair. But you were talking about rather high-dollar bike shops. They're wanting to make high-dollar rates when they can't do anything more than what I just described. The most they can do is buy the exact part for the exact bike and swap it out. And they call themselves a bike shop. Are we the cattle? I think we are. But yeah, and they call that being a shop, being a bike mechanic. I'm sorry, no, it's not. You need to know a little bit more about it than that. So, what I've been telling people to shut the bike shops up is ask the bike shop that wants you to be their patron, ask them if they know how to wire a generic motor controller in your bike, whatever brand that may be, understanding that the screen and other stuff that you may have used with your old motor controller isn't going to work. Because that has to have, if you've got display screens and all this type of stuff, you're going to have the very specific motor controller that went with that set. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Exactly, Hetty Hayes. I mean, it's amazing the amount of money people can save themselves if all they got to do is try. That's all they got to do is try. And there's a YouTube video to teach you how to fix about anything. All people have to do is have the motivation. That's it. But that's my issue with these bike shops, because this is their living. Okay, if you've got an automotive shop down the street, and Ford and Chevy and Chrysler and Hyundai and everybody else all went to some different type of system, and they have. There was a time where we had cars before computers. And then we had they kind of started putting kind of half-ass crappy computers in cars. Well, we've had electronic ignition control modules since the 70s, but in the 80s, they started playing with a little bit more serious electronics equipment in cars. A lot of it had to do with fuel economy and stuff, and those were nightmares. I think Chrysler had a system that would change how many spark plugs sparked or whatever. It was all a nightmare. None of it worked right. But even then, the mechanics at the shops were learning how to work on that equipment. And then when the OBD1 computer systems started coming out on the cars, that's when I went to college. I remember learning on an old big-ass Bear machine how to do diagnostics on cars. That was when I was going through college. Since then, there has been a mountain of changes, including going to the OBD2 system, which is way more complex. And now people are tuning their cars from a laptop in the front seat. That's an amazing stretch of technology from when I started working on cars to now. And if I worked in that industry, it would be expected of me, rightfully so, to keep up with the technology in that particular repair field. I think that's only expected, right? I mean, come on. That's only expected. So why do the bike shops get a free pass on that? Things are going to electric bikes? And instead of them learning the technology, learning about what it is that they're doing, aside from just replacing one part with another, they just might figure out how to hook up that generic motor controller to that brand name bicycle. I promise you it can be done. Got a buddy that had a Swagtron, I think is what it is, EB5 scooter. And I guess I let somebody borrow it and it quit working or whatever, but I know when I got my hands on it, it needed a new motor controller and a new throttle for it. Replaced the motor controller and the throttle and been riding around fine on it. Again, anything that came with the bike, like, or the scooter, like screen and all that won't work, because you do have to have the specific motor controller for that. But it just drives me nuts that these people are wanting to charge a premium price, but they don't want to put out any effort in learning more. That doesn't make sense to me. And in fact, if I were in those shoes, if I had a neat little shop with a sign over my head and my name on my shirt, I think I would reach out to all those people that are being told, oh, you got to have this brand of bike, you got to have this brand of bike, and I think I would aim for them. And be like, oh, yeah, you want the cheap, knockoff, no-name, some cheap Chinese Amazon junk bike and it quit working? Bring it on in. I'll fix it up. Look at this. Found a motor controller for you for $35. How about I charge you $40 to put it in? $75 you're on the road. That's less than what one of them yahoos are charged for an hour of labor. to put that person. I'm dead serious. If I was in the same position to be able to do that, I'd damn straight be doing it. I don't get these people. I just don't. Yeah, you're right, Hetty Hayes, about them keeping all the old computer equipment for military applications. Yeah, but I still don't understand that. Because our government should be having its own computers with their own operating system that we don't know shit or shinola about. Nothing. They should have their own operating system that we've never even gotten to hear the name of, and running software programs that we have no clue about. If you want a secure technology, that's what you have to do. You have to speak literally. I mean, you have to speak a different language. Sure, people could, tear it down and figure it out if they got a hold of it, but A, they would have to get a hold of it. And B, they'd have to know what the hell they were doing to be able to reverse engineer all of it just to come up with, and then they've got a small portion. That's a little bit. But our government won't tighten up its security. It's the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen is the lacks of security on our government. And they want everything to go into fusion centers. Yeah, well, that's the claim, Kevin, that we landed on the moon but lost the technology. We didn't need it. We just threw it in the dumpster. It was taking up too much room, Yeah. Yeah, that's one I don't buy either. No, I did not see the drone gun at the Pope's funeral. I have been avoiding anything to do with the Pope. So I haven't watched any video related to it. At all. I'm of the mindset, get him in the ground and quit talking about him. I have no, not a care in the world for that guy. Not a care in the world. He's pretty much on the same level as Satan to me, so. Yeah, I didn't see that. I might have to try to find that clip, because I would like to see the drone gun. There's been a ton of different drone guns that have been designed, and some actually they put in trials. I laugh at a lot of them, to be honest. Because if it shoots something like a net, it's cute, but that's about all. No, where it's at with drone defense is directed energy. Microwave cannon. Oh wait, you're saying throw watts a long ways? You must be talking about one of the directed energy ones. Yep. Because that's really the most feasible way to take a drone down. Scramble its brains. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Stuff like that. Stuff like that's just going to get people hurt. It's about all that's going to do. You got to have something fast and something that you can immediately reshoot. I mean, literally in the blink of an eye, fire again. In case you miss, or in case there's more than one. So there's a guy on YouTube that's been playing around with making some. He's got some interesting videos, just taking ordinary microwaves, tearing them apart, using the parts inside to make microwave weapons. And interesting stuff to look into. I'll just say that. But if you want to defend against drones, that's how you got to do it. And you have to keep in mind now that it's not just about being able to sever the connection from a cell tower or a satellite or even a remote control. It's more about just interfering with that connection at this point. Now with the autonomous equipment out there, you actually have to be able to scramble the brains of the drone. So the only way you're going to logically do that at a distance is directed energy. Oh, yeah. And to be honest, handheld anti-drone technology would only be useful for us serfs, to be really honest. Because when it comes to government, they'll have arrays on their equipment. They'll have Humvees with microwave weapons on them. They'll have, and I'm pretty sure that the microwave weapons that they have, the anti-personnel microwave weapons that they have, that we haven't really seen get used, thankfully. Two pieces of technology came out around the same amount of time. And we have seen them use the hell out of one of them, the LRAD, or the Long Range Acoustic Device. They've used that quite a bit. But they also had a microwave weapon about the same time period that they released the LRAD system. And I'm pretty sure that their microwave system would be more than plenty to take a drone out of the sky. I'm pretty positive of it. From my understanding, it's mean enough to be able to basically cook you from the inside out. So I would think it could scramble the electronics of a drone for sure. Yeah, who's got the better evil toys? That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And that's why I keep trying to tell folks, and I know it just slides past a lot of people, it's not going to be the guy, the big guy, the Jason Momoa with, built like a shit brick house or a brick shit house. It's, oh, howdy, dear. It's not going to be him that's going to do the most to help people and what's to come. It's not going to be the guy that's great with the AR-15 and can do any covert op and blah, blah, blah. That's not going to be the guy. It's not going to be the one. It's going to be your nerds. It's going to be your geeks. That's who the heroes are going to be. Because that is the type of intellect it's going to take in order to counter all of these systems. Joe Blow that knows how to hide in a spider hole, that might be good knowledge, but it's going to take a lot more than that. It's going to take defeating electronic systems. Without the ability or capability of doing that, you're nothing but fish in a barrel. And that's just the facts of it. See, there you go. My first topic was about prepper channels. You don't hear them talking about that because they don't know about it. You got a geek in a forest? Good combination right there. Yeah, I mean, it's all of this that we're looking at, that we're dealing with, has to be dealt with differently than it ever has been before. If you go to war and you're listening to rules made by the person you're fighting in the war and abiding by those rules, you're going to lose that war. The only way that we won the Revolutionary War was because we started incorporating guerrilla tactics. We stopped all this nonsense of marching up together lockstep in a line and then shooting our muskets at one another. No, people were hiding behind brush and sniping people. That's how we won the Revolutionary War. Guerrilla warfighting techniques. And even the British were appalled by it. They were disgusted by it. Why, you can't be a man if you don't march up in line and we take pot shots at each other with our musket. Stupidest thing I ever heard of. But they actually felt that way. They actually felt that way. Well, it's going to take that again. It's going to take a different type of warfare than they've ever seen. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, don't wear red in an open field. That's a good tip. I'll have to watch that movie as well, Dia. I think this current battle we're in a battle. I think the most important part is to remove the administrative elements. That's where it's got to start. Not quite the head off the snake, but you get enough body of the snake that the head and the tail can't do much else. You know what I mean? Beware the blue helmets. Those make great targets, the blue helmets. I think they ought to sell a color called Target Blue. You know what I mean? And it'd just be the UN blue. Call it Target Blue. Good idea for Krylon. Get on it, Krylon. Make me some plastic coat helmet blue. I honestly think that's what it's going to take. And I'm not talking about big national, federal level. I'm talking about our own localities. And then it builds from there. I hear you about AI. You know, AI is one of those things that I love to hate to love. Which order it is in depends on what I'm doing at the moment. It's neat. I appreciate being able to do things that I would never ever be able to do. You know, the picture for the thumbnail tonight's show. That's AI. That's not me. That's AI. I told what I wanted, and I mean, I argued with it for a little while. I didn't take the first thing it gave me, but I can't draw like that. I can't do art. And then like with Suno, the music. You know, that's incredible. You know, that I can go and put in a prompt for a song and it writes me a killer song. One that's not copyright protected, that I can use on a project of my very own. At the time, I think it was Eddie Hayes that introduced me to Suno, I'm pretty sure. At that particular time, I was literally installing software on my computer and learning an entire software program so that I could create music. Just simple music that I could make for the show. And about that time, I was introduced to Suno, and I'm like, holy cow, that's insane. And I think it's great for stuff like that. But unfortunately, that's not a genie that we're going to be able to keep in a bottle at that level. It's going to be incorporated into everything. And already has been. Don't let them fool you. They've been using AI, simplified forms of AI, for a long time. Think of the phone systems where you just talk into the phone and ask you your social security number, for example, and you just tell it, you speak it. And the phone, text to speech and speech to text is no big whoop for us today. But that was the beginnings of AI. Being able to hear that voice and determine what it was that they had said and enter that into a system. That's artificial intelligence. That was the beginning of it. But what they've got now is completely different. And it can be used for just as much good as what it can, just as much bad. And that's my fear. Unfortunately, it's one of those genies that once it's let out of the bottle, it's out. And you can either take the moral road, I'm calling it, that might not be a great word to put on it, and abstain, but it won't be long, and the rest of the world will just be in absolute control. Or you can make it the new space race and see who can get the highest the fastest, and that's the mode that we're in. And I don't know where that leads. I don't think it's good. I'm not going to sit here and fearmonger you on it, though. You know, a lot of this stuff that back to the prepper topic that gets fearmongered about every single day is ridiculous. When we've got clear and present threats on our doorstep, we don't need to hear about from some yahoo how he went to the Walmart store and saw some funny looking people, and well, you better be ready for that because, you know, that's not preparedness. That's not helping anybody in preparedness. It's just not. Oh, but they're warning us. We should be thankful that they're warning us. They're warning you. They're warning you. Hang on a second. Ah, okay. So dude that left our group a little while back, our local Facebook group, because we're terrible people that allow people to talk, and we don't protect one political party over the other or none of the nonsense like that. Rejoin the group today, and there's just two basic questions to join the group. What's our zip code? And I said, what's our zip code? Even though everybody gives me what their zip code is. I don't give a shit what their zip code is. I want to know what zip code Highland is. So anyway, that's supposed to be the question to be able to root out all that. Yeah, you can't go by that. So anyway, because they I don't know. Simple question. I think it's a simple question, but people, if they don't answer it, or they give me their zip code. And the only reason for me having the zip code question is because there's a town called Highland Park up near Chirac, which is not Highland. And so we get a lot of people from Highland. That's the only reason I put that question there, is because we get a lot of people from Highland Park joining our group. And we ain't anywhere near that and don't want to be. So anyway, under where you put the zip code prompt, he put, I just came back because somebody ran into my car today. Wait, where's the post? Oh, well, that wasn't in the post. Never mind. So apparently his vehicle got ran into today at Ruler's Foods. And 11 minutes ago, somebody came into the chat. And, not the chat, but the thing, and they said, it was a reported post where, oh, here it is. So anyway, some anonymous member, they did it anonymously, that's the classic. I don't know if this person did it or not, or if they're just, hate to tell them though, if I get asked by law enforcement who it was that made the post, I gotta tell them. I'm not going down for nobody else's stupid shit. But anyway, posted anonymously, I think I may have backed into a tan Dodge today at Ruler Foods. Whoops. I think he's just trolling, but who knows. It got reported for false news, but we'll let it slide. Anyway. Crazy. Oh, yikes. Oh, yikes. Yeah, call him out, girl. Anyway, sorry. Sidetrack. We do have some really incredible people in this town as well. I know I was ragging on people in this town earlier, and I will continue to rag on people in this town. But we got a lot of really great people, too. Really, really great people. And they stand out. I mean, as really great people. I mentioned before about how, we live right next to Missouri, which is a show me state. And we've got much, at least in the area I'm in, we've got much of a show me attitude. There's a lot of us you're not going to dupe real easy. And there's a lot of us that have been taught, and beyond taught, have been taught by life. As my dad always said, don't believe anything you hear, only half of what you see. And there's a lot of people in this area that live by that. And I'll tell you what, there ain't nobody that'll call out people quicker than somebody from the Midwest. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. And they won't be doing it with a bullshit ego like they do on the East Coast either. It won't be like that. Nope. Because these people are going to learn you. But, unfortunately, the numbers of those types of people are dwindling. But, crazy. Missouri or misery. I don't know. I've only lived a very short time there, twice. I lived over in St. Louis for a really short time. And I lived in a, what was the name of that? Holt Summit? I think it was Holt Summit. Let me look. I don't think it was Gray Summit. I think it was Holt Summit. It was right next to Jefferson City, Missouri. I think that's it. Doo-doo-doo. Yep, that's it. Holt Summit. Lived in a little bitty mobile home park. Not even sure if that would even still exist. Hey, while I lived there, I will have you know, what was the name of the guy's name was Larry Rice. I can't remember his TV show or nothing. But I actually did a little work for Larry Rice. Because he owned a small, like, little TV studio church kind of thing right down the road from where I lived. Gosh, this probably ain't nothing like it used to be. And I have no idea where I lived. God, that's been so long ago. So long ago. Lived in a mobile home park. And the mobile home park's probably not even there anymore. I doubt it would even be there. That was the church. Yep. So anyway, lived in a small little mobile home park. And, ooh, that might be it. J&L. That might be it. But, I don't remember how long me and Audrey lived there. I don't remember. It was crazy. That whole damn situation was crazy. We left here, Highland. I had given up my job, which wasn't anything super spectacular, but I was a test and repair lab technician at an electronics manufacturing plant. So that's not nothing. I loved my job. Absolutely loved my job. But I loved this woman more. And there is no way, since her family are multi-millionaire business owners in town, there is no way that Audrey and I could have been left alone. And so we left. We didn't get married, so it's not like she eloped, but she didn't tell them she was leaving. And when they were gone on a trip, we packed her stuff up and we headed out. And I can't remember how long we lived there. I just don't remember. I don't think it was quite a year, but I'm not sure. But that was crazy. And we were making it. We contracted to deed a mobile home sight unseen. Never do that. And I am not exaggerating in the least when I say that when we showed up and I opened up the door to the mobile home, that I fell backwards from the smell of animal piss in the mobile home. And that's it was that bad. That bad. The toilet didn't work. The turlet, as Donnie would call it, the turlet. Hey, it just so happened when we moved there, I had a turlet. I kid you not, I owned my own personal turlet. It was a turlet I couldn't pass up. I happened to go into, they used to have this place, I can't remember if it was called Maynard's or what, but they sold all kinds of building supply stuff and a lot of that. And a lot of the stuff was involved in floods and whatnot, so they couldn't sell it at normal price. They had to sell it at salvage prices, one of those places. And I just stopped in to take a peek at what they had. And I'll be damned if they did not have a black toilet with an elongated bowl. And you know what? There's only one thing harder to find than a black toilet with an elongated bowl, and that would be you guessed it, the frickin' seat for the damn thing. That's impossible to find. Or at least it was then. But I had a turlet, and I even tried buying the white toilet seat and painting it black. That didn't work out real well. paint flakes on your ass when you're getting up. That didn't go over so well. Fun times. But we did pretty good, to be honest. I was proud at our efforts. There just wasn't much there for us. And we missed home. We missed friends. So we moved back. And unfortunately, the relationship didn't last very long after we moved back. Once she was under the influence of her family. And, well, my family wasn't worth a crap either. And so it was a bad situation. But I lived there for a little while. And it was pretty much misery. We worked at I can't remember. I was having a problem finding where it was that we worked at. There should be a Casey's restaurant, or a Casey's gas station, because we worked there. Before all was said and done, me and her both worked at Casey's, the same Casey's location. And she was like really close to management. Audrey was. I was happy making pizzas. But I think they were, if I recall correctly, they were actually had her more or less training for management. And I think she was opening up the stores at the time, to be honest. I think they had her opening. I don't remember for sure, though. Been a long time ago. Long time ago. I was looking for the Casey's. I couldn't find it easily, so. New China. Okay, so it'd be down this road more. It was like, because there was a Casey's, and then I bet this is where it was at. Yep. Central Bank ATM is what it's marked. That was it. I found it. That was a Casey's we worked at. It's not a Casey's no more. But yep, that was a mobile home park behind it, and then our mobile home park was down the road a little ways. Not real far. I was just seeing if I could run into it. I don't know how far it went, though. KRGC? Wait, what is that? Television station. I bet that is actually where the church was. Larry Rice's little church thingy. Which tells me I'd be too far down the road. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the mobile home park that we lived in is no longer there. And the reason why, because supposedly the guy was in all kinds of hot water over his mess of a setup he had. The reason why the toilet didn't work is because it had gotten so compacted with waste. I couldn't even clear it out. The best I could do was take it out, throw it on the ground, put a new toilet in. I don't know for how long the sewer system wasn't even hooked up before we moved there. No idea. I found out when I was trying to go through figuring out what was wrong with all the plumbing. And from my understanding, none of the sewer in the entire place was ran correctly. So, rumor had it he was going to get shut down anyway. This was the guy who owned it was supposed to be he was an old neighbor. He's supposed to be an old friend of the family's, right? Guy's the biggest snake I've ever dealt with, I think. Old Johnny Pendleton. Came from right here in Highland. Well, I don't know that he came from here, but that's where I know him from. Oh yeah, it's unreal, Kevin. It really truly is. But, I don't know. Anyway, I better get off here. I got a bunch of catching up to do. There was all kinds of comments made and all that stuff, and let me get caught up on that and then take my happy little butt to bed, and hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. So, oh, I hear you there, Kevin. I hear you there. This had to do with the actual implementation of stuff. He didn't do anything right. Not even close. And so led to a lot of problems throughout the entire mobile home park. But anyway, I am out of here. And God willing, I'll be here tomorrow. And maybe we'll actually cover some news. So, alright, hope you all have a good night. As always, shalom. Peace, Hetty Hayes. See you later, Kevin.